And if there's 10 seats, you should sign up, because it's an experience that you'll never forget. There'll be people there that were on those strikes like us, like myself, my parents, all of us will be there. Some died. If you notice, one of them was Juan de la Cruz, part of my family. But the first one to die, so you can understand the whole concept of the union as a movement, was the first one was Jewish. In 1970, Nan Friedman from Wakefield, Massachusetts, just north of Boston, died on the picket line, killed on the picket line in Florida during the sugar cane strike of farm workers. The second one that you notice was an Arab, with Najib Daifullah from Yemen, because the Arab community lived in those rural areas at work, and we all worked with them, and we knew him, and so he was killed. Isn't it ironic that here in 2015, there's all this, turmoil, but yet in turn, those are the people that gave their lives to the movement to start off. So, to me, the strike and boycott, like Cesar used to say, the strike is us workers directly against the employer. And the boycott era, he used to call it, it's like using a hammer or a club, something like naquear a los sonso, it's like knocking an idiot, So the boycott was used in the cities. We went to Canada. I had an opportunity one time to work in Canada also. Throughout the United States and in England, where people refused to buy grapes. Back in the 1970s, the first strike that started September 16th, which was just a few days ago, which was Mexican Independence Day, is when that strike, the first one, that you're going to go celebrate in Delano next week on the 26th. So it's the 16th of September. The Filipinos that the sister spoke about was September 8th in Delano. So they struck a week, and then they came and they met, and that's where the National Farm Worker Association with AWOC combined, and it became the United Farm Workers Organizing Committee. And so those two unions, the Filipinos had struck down in Coachella before. The harvest and the work starts in Coachella in April. The harvest is in May, June, July. By July, they all move. By July 4th, they move up to Bakersfield, Arvin, Lamont, which they show in those films. So I just want to let you know how it actually works. And it's still working today. Right now, they just started in July. They're somewhere in Fresno. They go up to Tulare, and the harvest moves north. And if some of you have parents, because I always remember when I was younger, and working out in the rural areas, in the grapes and the plums, everywhere, I used to see people from El Monte, from Pomona, that they used to go work in the field back in the 60s. And so I say that because the strike and boycott to Cesar and the movement was building power. That's really what it's about. It was never, and it should never be, a fight against the police. The police son los achichincles. You know what achichincles are? ¿Quién conoce la palabra achichincles? No? Achichincles is like the puppets. Like the puppets of the growers. They're the front for the owners. And so you never fight with the police. The fight is always with the employer, because the employer controls the police, the judge, the politicians, everything. And so it's really clear to understand when you're in these struggles, and it doesn't matter if it's in the rural area or in the cities, that it's always the employer that has the power. Your schools, it's not the teacher. Don't fight with the teacher. It's the president and the board. That's who has the power. So if you're in Mecha or whatever organization you belong to, the Black Student Union, wherever, and I organize from Berkeley to Harvard to Yale, Canada, Puerto Rico, and all over this country, not just farm workers, not just people in factories, but also in the colleges, community organizations, faith-based, all the religious They're all organizable if you work with them with a real clear message. Don't get complicated, don't get philosophical, just do the work. Okay, so it's really important to understand that it's about building economic power for workers. Don't get into philosophies with them. They want to know, how can I get a good wage, a living wage, so I can support my family and hopefully make enough money so I can have a medical plan for them, so I can have holidays, so when I retire and hit 65, I have a pension, and later on, and have my kids go to college. That's really what it's about.